How's it going, everyone? It's it's me, V. Um, I guess I wanted to talk about a touchy subject because of some stuff that I saw on the news the other day. Some teacher, some teacher saying, giving a student assignment of 5 positive things from the residential school. Um, I can tell you 5 things about the residential school, and you can tell me if they're positive or negative, or what kind of positive or negative effect would come from it. Um, Loss of culture, loss of identity, loss of traditions, um, abuse, sexual abuse, murder, genocide. It's the kind of stuff that my people had to go through, my family. And these are some of their stories. So one of my aunts, when she was 6, when she got brought into the schools, she she wet the bed because she didn't want to get raped. Imagine having to do that in order to prevent yourself from getting raped, like pissing your pants just so the priest won't rape you. That's and that's not even the best part. It's fucked up because she did it so much that the nuns punished her for it. She said that a nun grabbed her by her hair and wiped her face in her own urine on the bed like a dog, and then dragged her outside to the pool where that was by their dorm, and dunked her in the pool repeatedly over and over again, screaming, "If you want to get wet, this is how you're going to get wet. If you want to get wet, this is how you're going to get wet," dunking her up and down. And this is just me thinking of what my aunt told me. My aunt and grandma talked about the White House that was in the center of the schools. And they went to St. Joseph's Residential School in Williams Lake, BC, shut down in the 1980s, and it was bulldozed. Tried to cover it up. That's what Canada's trying to do, or tried to do. But how do you cover up that? Anyway, this White House that they talk about is where the priests lived, and that's where they would burn the babies of pregnant Indigenous girls that were impregnated by the teachers, by the priests. They would burn the babies in their furnace. Sometimes they would run away and drown the babies. And this is what my grandma told me, is that girls would run away and drown their babies in the pond down the road. And it's stuff that this teacher is trying to pretty up. Like, she's trying to, like, that. Not I don't know what where the gender of this teacher is, but I know that this teacher is so wrong in asking these questions. My grandma said when she was a kid that they could hear babies crying from the pond that they would drown the babies. The priests, they had tunnels that led to each dormitory. Priests would pull children into those little tunnels and rape them. This is the stuff that my family went through in the residential school. My grandfather, my grandpa, he got whipped with a horse whip so hard that they blew his eardrums. And that was for speaking his language, a language that I don't have anymore. After my grandma's funeral, my grandpa told me the story of that and of how after the priests would get done raping them, the priest would tell them, the little boys, that this is, God chose you for this. This is what you were chosen for. This is happening to you in God's name. Kids would get punished for speaking their language. They would if you spoke your language, they'd have you put your hands out and they'd strap your hands with a meter stick. And these are the kind of stories that I had to grow up hearing, and intergenerational trauma that's connected to me. And people wonder why Indigenous people react the way that we react, why we're so angry, why we're so vulgar. Because we don't know. Imagine going from that into society and being expected to fucking act like a normal human being. Think about that. I don't know my language. I don't know what it really means to be Indigenous, what I am. I know traditions, but we're losing it. Do you know what it's like to watch other people speak a language, their language, and not being able to know yours? Do you know what it's like to have a disconnect from your family because they're so emotionally and mentally damaged that they can't fucking connect with you, so you have to find some other connection because you don't know how to feel human. You don't know. I'm the first generation of survivors. Canada wonders why we have such a high addiction rate, such a high alcoholism rate, why Indigenous people are so fucked up. And this is why. Because of the White House, because of what the priests did to our ancestors. That pain is handed down through DNA. that fear, that anxiety, the loneliness is passed down through our DNA. We were put through we were put through fucking hell, and then we get put out into society, and they expect us to be normal. And a lot of us have addictions, drinking, probably. It's fucking ridiculous, and people wonder why, like, we react the way we react, why I reacted the way that I reacted over so many stupid things that people are like, oh, why is that such a big deal? Why do you have to be such a deuce? Why do you have to be right? So we don't know. It's the kind of pain that I live with, those stories. What they don't tell you about is how fucked up it is where we come from, how disconnected our families are. They want to talk about reconciliation. Why don't we start talking the truth about what happened and what's happening to our children and our children's children? Because we don't know what it's like to be, what it means to be Indian, indigenous, whatever the fuck it is you want to call us. We don't know. We don't know how to act normally in today's society. Most of us were raised on fucking TVs and fucking VHS. Like that was it. Like, we were latchkey kids, and we had to learn to fend for ourselves at a young age because no one taught our parents. Our parents did the best they could, but I can't blame them. Can't blame my mom or anyone for how fucked up we are. I mean, I can blame the government. I just can't blame my parents because they went through so much fucking shit. I can't blame my family. The shit that happened to them in the schools, it's not their fault. But this fucking teacher who's trying to find some sort of good from the residential schools. How about you give me back my language? How about you give me back my traditions? How about you give me back the 16 dialects in this nation and our language, and why give me that? And you can say whatever fucking positive shit you want to say about the residential schools. Give me that. Like, yeah, they went through hell, but they got to keep their language. They got to keep their identity. We as Indigenous people, we got to start to come together and start healing. Start changing. I can't believe this fucking bullshit. And I'm sorry. It's just, how can you find 5 positive things from the residential schools when I've talked about how my grandpa got horsewhipped after being tied to a furnace and his fucking eardrums blown? And then he'd get raped, and the priest would tell him that it was in God's name. Like, how the fuck? And all of the stuff that went on in the residential schools, like all of that stuff, how can you find anything positive? What, they fucking were forced to barely eat, barely sleep because most of them were fucking full of anxiety and fear because they were afraid of getting raped or beat? My grandma and grandpa told me about all they got to eat was oatmeal and how they'd have to go sneak into the pantry and steal apples and oranges. They get caught and they get whipped. What positive shit can you come, like, what can you, it fucking sucks. I can't find anything positive from any of those experiences. So I hope the BC Education Board, I hope the Canadian Education Board, I hope they start fucking writing this shit and telling people what actually happened. Because trying to pretty it up and have Canada play off like we're fucking nice is not reconciliation. It's not. You want to reconciliate? Show the ugly side. Show all the shit that you've done. Let all of that shit out. Stop fucking sweeping it under the rug. Actually admit that you fucked up. Don't apologize. Just admit what you did. Maybe our people will heal. Maybe you people will understand why we're so fucked up. Why I'm so angry. Why other Indigenous people are so angry. Why we're so insecure. Why we're so afraid. Can't walk out my front door without thinking some motherfucker's gonna try and fight me or some cop's gonna arrest me because I'm an Indian. Because it happens. I can't go outside and have like half of my mask off and be 20 feet away from a fucking Karen and have her fucking blow up on me and tell me that I'm either going to kill everyone because I have half my mask on, or she's telling me to take my fucking mask off and that I don't need to let the white government oppress me, because I've had that shit happen being an Indigenous person, being an Indigenous man, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't want to identify as a fucking man anymore. I don't fucking identify as anything. Just fucking V or dude. Call me V or dude. That's it. Residential schools have made people afraid of us because we don't know how to act normally in public. The societal norm. So you tell me if that shit's positive or negative. Tell me if you can find anything positive from the residential schools after you heard that shit. Please. I don't know what else to say. Have a good day, y'all.